Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you're watching this transmission. 'Tis I, Mike Martins. I want to thank everyone for joining me for another very special edition of Trends in the Housing Market. We'll be covering all the trends in the housing, forecasting trends in the housing market, banking sectors, employment sectors, and what's happening in the housing market that is basically leaving everybody house broke. People that bought in the last couple of years, where are they now? Right now, are they underwater? People tapping into the equity in their HELOCs. Anyways, welcome to Trends in the Housing Market. Connecting Auckland, New Zealand to Sydney, Australia to Melbourne, Australia, across to Perth, northwest to London, across northeast to Dublin, Belfast, across to Edinburgh, down to New York, down to Miami, across to Los Angeles, up to Vancouver, across to Toronto. We are unifying the English-speaking world under one umbrella and under one roof. And welcome to Trends in the Housing Market. And it is I, your humble host, Mike Martins. And I want to thank everyone for joining the channel and jumping on board and making this channel what it is today, and making housing talk interesting instead of the boring, repetitive stuff you hear at parties. And for the longest time, this housing glut has been on everybody's mind on where things are headed and where things are going to be heading. We got urban off-gridding in the house first, up in the comments section. I want to thank him for joining us from not really north, but Eastern Australia, Central Eastern Australia, I guess. And people starting to jump on board. I want to thank my people watching me in Germany. There's a group of people, quite a few people that are watching me in Germany, which is really cool. Oh my God, Owen's in the house. Oh yeah. Urban Off-Gridding's from Melbourne. That's right. Well, it's good to have Owen here. I know Owen personally. I even know his mom and his girlfriend. So I know him personally. In the show tonight. Owen, get Skype. Call in, buddy. I want to hear your voice. I haven't talked to you in a while, buddy. I want to know how you're doing, what's new with you. And I got 188 chats here in the Skype, which is phenomenal. See the question is who's available. It's not just having so many people, but it's actually having people that have the time to call in, right? It's midday. She's watching too. Yes. Anyways, okay, guys. So let's go over some of the stories here on my channel. So trends in the housing market last week. If you missed it, it was a great show. Property tax hikes all over the place. That's why it's called Tax of Death. So if you want to get on the channel and check out property tax hike. Ireland, massive housing crisis. Holy crap! You guys have no idea what's happening in Ireland. It's really? Ireland is in a lot of trouble with their housing crisis. Rent skyrocketing. When I say skyrocketing, I mean going up 50% in some parts. Price of housing doubling in the last 2 years, 3 years. And there's some areas outside of Dublin where housing went up 80%, not 50% value, 80% value in the last 2 years in some pockets. So Owen's saying, do you still have my number? Yeah, I probably do, but you need to call me on Skype so I can get you the nice clear right through the system and not on the phone, because it's going to be tough to have speakerphone because the quality is not there. Vancouver properties lost $90 billion. Nova Scotia on fire, guys. Vancouver properties have lost $90 billion. So if you haven't seen that one, that's a pretty good one. And Eastern Canada, Ottawa on fire right now. Ottawa, Nova Scotia, Halifax, they can't keep up with the demand. Average home in Ottawa, sorry. Average home in Sydney, Nova Scotia is about $130,000 right now. So people are going up there from Toronto and the Greater Toronto area, and popping and buying those properties up. And then Australia housing wrap up. What a mess! Elections just wrapped up in Australia, And the housing crisis is severely out of control there, and it's going to be another couple of more years of this mess. And they're lowering interest rates to make more people qualify. It's out of control. ANZ Bank in hot water, guys. Oh, they're not keeping enough money in their reserves, so all these bad mortgages that they wrote, all these bad mortgages on the books, guess what? They can't hedge against them because they don't have the money in their reserves. So who's coming into the thing? Owen still in the comments. Belinda Lee, down in Florida. Hi, how are you? And what else we got here? Canada's weekly housing wrap up. Don't hold your breath. That was one there. And then Rants and Lifestyle. I have a question about England. CIBC bank stock slides today. Almost, how many percent was it? Quite a few percent. It dropped quite a bit actually today. Ireland, massive housing crisis. I covered that already, but don't forget to check out the channel. And when you get a chance, go to the, not playlist, but go to community. I usually ask polls, questions, what people like to see. Here it is, trends in the housing market today. So right now I could tell you that according to my time here, it is like 2:04 p.m. in Auckland. It is 10:02 in Perth. 10:04 in Perth, sorry. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Anyways, don't forget to check out the community section there. People commenting on there. And I wanted to kind of throw this one out there. This is actually a pretty big one because everyone's assuming that... everyone's assuming that's the techies, the technology experts in California that are driving up housing prices. And I've told you guys that's a lie for a long time. Bay Area techies plan to ditch San Francisco for these 5 cities. They're leaving like wildfire. And a lot of them with their own little startups. And startups are good, especially if you could think outside the box and be, if you have a good individual mind to think on your own. You know what I'm saying? All right, comments are flooding here. FDGG, here as always. Andrew Diak, hi Mike, Arizona is here again. Thanks for all you're doing. So Arizona, guys, so you know, I a lot of Californians move in there. Like, you could ask Andre if he wants to come on the show, how many license plates, how many tags he sees on cars with the California plates. He'll tell you how many he sees. Okay, we got FDG in the comments saying, Mike, you always got to remember to stay positive too. Hey, I'm trying my best here, I say. You know, with all this stuff happening, I'm trying to be good here, you know? And then he says, oh, Mike, I went by a homeless camp in Oppenheimer Park, or whatever it's called. It was insane. Dude, get some footage. If you don't want to throw it up on your channel or on your thing, just send me the footage and say, hey guys, you don't have to show your face. Say, hey guys, it's FDG reporting for the Mike Martins channel. I'm here in Oppenheimer Park. I kind of want to show you guys this 1-minute clip of footage. This is what's going on here. You know, things like that. I'll put it on the show. That's fine. Especially, you know, a lot of people don't want to show they don't want to get in trouble. You know, a lot of people are scared. The whole speech thing is going right out the window. There we go. Andre Diak says, in Arizona, says, a lot of people move here from California every month. I'm telling you, it's this mass California exodus. Okay? And it ties into this other article I have here. Let me just see if I could find it here. America's cities are unlivable. Blame the wealthy liberals. The demise of California housing measure shows how progressives abandon progressive values in their own backyards. So we're going to link these 2 articles up here. But yeah. Okay, we got Andre Diak saying a lot of people, we got that. Speedy Biker 91 says, even here in Mississauga, we're seeing more and more homeless people. Dude, that's crazy because it's a suburb of Toronto. You would think, but I think a lot of people are exodusing Toronto and they're not making it in other cities and finding it tough with relocation. That's one thing. I'm feeling that. I'm just, yeah. Again, anybody that wants to go on location, You don't have to show your face. Just film your phone. Just say, hey, guys, I'm here in Mississauga, Ontario, north of here, Ontario, wherever I am, and I got some stuff here. Look what's going on here, and look at these new homes going up, whatever. Okay, Sativa Shiva says, I'm native California. I'm fighting. I'm going to fix it. I love those states. Hate these politicians. Love the show. Someone's asking, where's Mississauga? That's in just 25-minute drive outside of the Toronto, Ontario. Mississauga is a big city. Look it up on Wikipedia. It's a big city outside Toronto. It's like the size of... what size would it be in the United States? Maybe like the size of Tucson? Maybe be about the size of Tucson, Mississauga, Ontario. If I'm not too sure, but yeah. Okay, Speedy Biker, 800,000 people now in Mississauga. Yeah, Mississauga's growing fast. I see a lot of people collecting cans and bottles. Yeah, I made a video about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. I was like broken down when I saw this elderly woman, like decently dressed, looked like she lived a decent life, like looked like she made something of herself in life, and she's just going around collecting bottles and cans to buy food. Not drugs. No. Food. So Speedy Biker saying, when my parents moved from Toronto in early 1990s, it was 400,000 population. There's 800,000 now in Mississauga, Ontario. Okay, so what is happening in these trends in the housing market? You're seeing homelessness spiking, affordability levels are on the through the roof, and you're seeing people that own that don't want to sell because they're currently underwater. You're seeing a lot of things happening. You're seeing this massive problem right now in Salt Lake City, Utah. It's out of control now. Now they want to start densifying homes now. They want densification. They want more people on top of each other. They want more stacked housing. They want more 300, 400 square foot condos in Salt Lake City, Utah. Craziness. Nevada is now starting to dip. Housing prices are declining. A couple of people that went to Nevada from California are now losing because they bought at the wrong time. So Andre Diak saying, move here, guys. Where are you, Andre? Sorry, Andre. Let us know where you're at. Oh, Phoenix, Arizona. Never mind. I just saw that. Rents are about $1,100 for 2 bedrooms in a decent area in Phoenix, Arizona. Decent house is about $250 large. Yeah, in Phoenix, yeah. If you go east to Tucson, you can get a decent, like a nice house for like $200,000, like a big house with the drive up, gated entryway and everything, like a nice one, like a water fountain in front and everything. Speedy Biker saying Northern Ontario. You know what, bud? Stay out of Northern Ontario. Go east. Go to Halifax. Right now in Halifax, you could buy a house for $135,000, a 4-bedroom. $200,000 buys you like Chuck Norris's house in Halifax. Sydney. Look up Sydney, Sydney, Nova Scotia. Lots of people from the GTA moving to Sydney, Nova Scotia right now. I have someone on the ground. I'm begging him to make a video, but he's scared to get fired from his job. He actually moved to Sydney, Nova Scotia 4 months ago. He picked up his house for $98,000, a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, on a big piece of land. And he said it's already maybe went up 25%. So you guys have to be really careful if you buy at the top, right? Very careful. When I was telling people to get out of Sydney back in the day, like 2, 3, 4 years ago, and go into smaller towns and go to affordability, it didn't mean to go out and buy at the top. Go out, find something that you know that's severely undervalued, and park yourself there for a couple of years, maybe a decade or two, you know? A lot of people need to start treating houses, okay, like assets. It's an asset. It's in the family. It's to raise my family. It's for day-to-day use. It's to lay roots. Now everyone's treating it like a commodity, like it's being traded on the market. Flip, 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 flip. Now flippers are crying the blues right now, especially in Vancouver and parts of Toronto and Sydney and Melbourne and Auckland and London, San Francisco, Seattle. All right, let's kick off with America first in the show. Bay Area techies plan to ditch San Francisco for these 5 cities, says surveys. Nearly 25% of Wealthfront's tech clients in the Bay Area plan to leave Silicon Valley for New York, Austin, Texas, and other more affordable cities, a survey of these firms' investors found. The median list price for San Francisco, Oakland, Hayward region is about $850,000 compared to $525,000 in New York, New Jersey, City Metro, according to Zillow. Bay Area tech workers plan to flee San Francisco for more affordable local of New York City. That's the Wealthfront of investment management firm that provides robo-advisor services, found when it's surveyed nearly 2,700 of its clients who work in the Bay Area and tech companies. The survey is based on data analysis of clients throughout the first 5 months of 2019. Fewer than a quarter of Wealthfront's tech clients in the Bay Area plan to purchase a home in San Francisco proper. Those who choose to remain in California, Silicon Valley, think they'll snap up a home in the neighborhood cities of Sunnyvale, Mountain View, and San Jose. Good luck with that. But nearly a quarter of clients think they'll part ways with the Bay Area altogether, opting for other comparatively cheaper cities such as Chicago and Austin, Texas. Guys, another one you guys should check out is Fort Worth, Texas. Fort Worth is really good right now, and it's very, very affordable to live, and there are jobs in Fort Worth. There's jobs. So it's decent, and you can still you could pick something up decent for way under 200,000. So, yeah. All right, let's move on. America's cities are unlivable, blame wealthy liberals. The demise of California housing measure shows how progressive abandoned progressive values in their own backyards. Look at the church pews. I use this as the icon for today. People are sleeping in churches. There's I could count at least 26 people in this picture. People bringing in their bikes, sleeping bags. Homeless people sleeping on the pews in a church in San Francisco. To live in California, and this is the time to experience every day the cryptic phrase that George W. Bush once said to describe the invasion of Iraq: catastrophic success. The economy here is booming, but no one feels especially good about it when the cost of living is taken into account. It's very simple. It's capitalism. Capitalism works, but the reason why capitalism's never worked is because it's kind of funny. It works, but it doesn't work. But I'll explain to you why. Because wages haven't caught up to inflation. That's it. If they pay people more, then we'd be sitting at a completely different situation right now. If wages caught up to inflation, we'd be sitting pretty right now. We'd be whistling Dixie. Evan Z, I used to live in Vancouver. I feel it is no longer habitable. Me too. I left Vancouver a few years back, moved to Merritt, British Columbia, never looked back. Bought a house for $260,000. It's probably one of the biggest houses I've ever owned, and living a good life. And you know what? I'm not bragging about it. I'm telling about it, because there's life outside the big city. There's lots of life outside the big cities. You don't have the traffic, the congestion. Everyone's pissed off. To live in California at this time is an experience every day. The cryptic phrase, okay, wait, I read this. The basic problem is the steady collapse of livability. That's a good way. That's a good way to put it. It's a steady collapse of livability. Across my home state, traffic, transportation, developing world nightmare, childcare, and education seem impossible for all but the wealthiest. The problems of affordable housing and homelessness have surpassed all superlatives. It's just fading out here because it wants me to donate $10 to read this. What was crisis is now an emergency that feels like a dystopian showcase of American inequality. Sorry, I could barely see that there. It just fades out and wants me to pay $10. Yep. Andre Diak saying we need more real jobs, manufacturing things. A service economy can't survive forever because of dependency on cheap labor from overseas. That's exactly right there. I need you on the show. Come on the show anytime, buddy. On the show, add me on Skype, guys. Mike Martins 1980 if you want to call in and tell us how you feel about what's happening in your neck of the woods when it comes to housing. I spoke to Steve the plumber today. He called me. Man, things are not looking good, man. He hasn't seen it this bad in his lifetime. It's so bad right now. Sativa Shiva saying, I bought a cool fixer-upper in Joshua Tree for 100 large. There are stores going in, and it's still a village. I'm hoping rent it out and retire there in 10 years. Good for you. We got Agranara saying, I moved away. Now I moved back to Oakville. I miss family and friends and connections. Yeah, Oakville's nice if you buy Lake Ontario. It's really nice down there where the Tim Hortons is on the main drag there in Oakville by Lake Ontario there. Lakeshore. It's really nice there. My family lives all in that area. My family lives all in that area of Oakville. Right by Lakeshore. Like right on Lakeshore, some of them too. How about the GTA now? GTA is out of control, guys. Stay away. Stay away. Not right now. All right, let's move on. How to deflate a housing bubble from Vancouver to Toronto. Sorry, my kids are freaking out in the other room there. And the single-family detached property in Vancouver sold for mid-April for $3.4 million after being on the market for 6 months. The original asking price in October 2018 was $4.5 million. Okay. One of these houses, guys, this. See, not that one. This. These houses, look. $3.4 million. Do you know how much money you need to pay a month to service that? Like $14 grand a month. For $3.4 million. That's $14,000 a month to service that. For that piece of crap, the thing was built after World War I. Yeah, companies are hiring people here in the GTA for like $30,000, $40,000 a year. It's not enough. This is Vancouver. Look. And I want people in the United States, in the UK, in Australia, New Zealand to understand something. This is not Beverly Hills. This house for $3.4 million detached family home, okay? Original asking price was $4.5 million. Is probably needs a good it's probably a tear down, or it needs about $200,000-$300,000 just in repairs to bring it to code. So I want people to understand that this is not Beverly Hills. This is like your average street. Nothing spectacular, congested, cars parked on both sides of the road, very narrow to drive through. And then a lot of people on cell phones, no one paying attention, nobody, people blowing through stop signs. Everyone's mad in this area. What are you mad for? You got a $4.5 million detached bungalow. Why should you be mad for? You should be grateful. The fifth Buddha saying, in Vancouver, public schools don't have room, only private schools. Yeah, man. And they closed a bunch of schools down. In Canada, the frothiest housing market prices are finally falling. Hip, hip, hooray. Falling real estate prices are normally a negative economic indicator, but it's been years since Vancouver had a normal housing market. Remember, Vancouver put on 12 to 16 quarters of inflated asset bubble and our $200 billion in laundered money, which the criminals kept us out of a recession. Thank you, criminals. And that consistently rose much faster than local salaries. Right, capitalism works, but if wages keep up with inflation, and it's not. Real estate becomes disconnected from the real economy and reality too. It now appears to be returning to Earth so long as the bubble deflates at a slow and steady pace. That's good news. It's necessary, and not just in Vancouver. Real estate markets are all about balance. It's dangerous when prices get out of whack in either direction. That can happen when people lose confidence. Prices collapse and buyers go on strike. And in the United States during the Great Recession, but that painful housing crash was preceded by several years of opposite sort of excess. As desperate buyers bid prices even higher. The bigger the bubble, the bigger the burst. The goal in Vancouver is to deflate the balloon before it pops. It's a similar story in the Greater Toronto Area, the country's largest housing market, which before 2018 became nearly as overheated. So how's the preventative deflation going? As a report in Saturday's Globe and Mail, okay, then Globe and Mail, I really don't believe what they say about housing, because they were propping up the market saying it's a good time to buy, and if you don't buy now, you'll never own, right? So I'm just putting it in those kind of terms. I'm not saying they said that exactly, but don't quote me on it, but yeah. And while the Vancouver market is clearly turning, Greater Toronto, which is much bigger and where fewer anti-speculation measures have been taken, may be a different story. In Canada's second hottest market, prices are down 4.1% since their peak in 2017, according to Tyronet National Bank. However, over the past year, prices have rebounded up more than 3%. More cooling action could still be needed. Oh yeah, try like 30% decline. Even further. No one's wages are catching up. All right, let's go back to the comments here. Speedy Biker says, I see lots of people here, locals and international students who have graduated and they're getting jobs at Tim Hortons and warehouses. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm so glad I didn't qualify to go to university or college. Like, I'm so glad I didn't have academics or any of that crap. So glad. And Joe Donato says, I'm glad it's not that bad in Montreal, but I will possibly have to move out of the country for my first house. Cheapest is about $200,000 or $200 million? $200,000, $300,000, sorry. Time to reflect. Chinese money has dried up in Vancouver for now. It has. Oh yeah, big time. And it's big time dry ups. Especially with the huge runoff on wealth off the Chinese shores. The Chinese president said, or the emperor, or whatever you want to call him, said, you know what? No more wealth leaving our country. Yep, Montreal. Yeah, okay. Speedy Biker says, still light years cheaper than here in the GTA, but I would like to try looking outside of Montreal, maybe Drummondville. Sorry, I heard about that place. It's not worth it. And Bottle Cap's in the house saying hi. Unless you're going to be an engineer or something. Yeah, but it's good to be an engineer in Argentina or in Brazil, or it's good to be an engineer in Colombia. They get paid a lot of money, okay? And the cost of living is super cheap. That's what you want. If you're an engineer, go work in southern Mexico. They need people to engineer bridges, sidewalks. You get a job online, go to a few interviews, see, and they pay. Some of them pay in American dollars. You don't have to deal with this whole English American Anglo Empire anymore. Briggs in the house. Woo! Oh yeah, we got Briggs in the house. Emperor, laugh out loud. Yeah, well, he declared himself as the permanent emperor of China until he passes on. Time to reflect that this housing problem is mostly due to the massive immigration in Western countries. Yes and no. It has to do with a lot of criminals laundering money. Canada's laundered $200 billion, right? It's kind of funny how Yeah, see, Australia doesn't have a money laundering problem. I'd be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if someone said they had 200 billion in laundered money in Australia. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. Dirt cheap mansions is asking when we can get dirt cheap mansions. Knowledge Seeker says Ottawa market is hot though. What's up with that? Yeah, it's coming up here. I have it here in the stories here. Bubble trouble in Vancouver's housing market. Pain has set in. Oof. Like that house right there in Vancouver. You know what that is? Right here. $7 million for that house. $7 million. That's all garage. Okay, it's all garage. I'm seeing here the driveway. It's all garage right here. It's all garage. And the back is maybe 3-4 bedrooms. So this house sold for $7 million and it was listed for $16 million in 2017. This was $16 million. Not pesos. Guys, someone's got to back me up here. That's not $16 million, guys. I'm sorry. I guess it's a really nice house and all. I don't think that's worth $16 million. There's no way that house is worth... I'm sorry. West Vancouver exclusive oceanside suburb realtors consider the epicenter of the real estate correction in the area. This house sold for this year for $7 million, far short of its list price of $16 million in 2017. $16 million. You know that 16 million pesos will still be too much money for that house? I'm not kidding. John has spent the past 4 months looking for a home in West Vancouver. Every weekend, he and his wife attend open houses in an exclusive coastal community where their kids are starting school in the fall. They have noted that the same thing almost everyone. No one ever shows up. Often, it's just them and a realtor sitting at the chair, staring at his phone. Nothing is moving. Oh, look at that. Let's just look at what $17 million buys you in Canada. That's nice. I wonder if they throw in the hula hoop. There's a hula hoop there by the door. I wonder if they throw the hula hoop in this house. Does have a barbecue in the backyard. I can see the barbecue there. That's nice. $16 million listed. All right, let's move on. I'm done. Ottawa's housing market heats up, defying national chill. See, someone said in the comments, well, Ottawa's heating up. I'm on it, people. I'm on it. I know what's going on. We started with the United States, Bay Area, and we read a couple of good stories from America. And now a little bit of Canada. We're going to hit some Australia a little bit. And you know what? Don't tune out of the show if I'm not talking about your country. It's happening in every English-speaking country. It's a pattern. It's called We're Getting Shafted. All right. Time to reflect. You would not have people investing in Western nations if there was no potential for massive immigrants. And then someone saying that's $16 million house in Auckland would be worth 1.2 million New Zealand dollars. 2 million depending on location. In the US, 800,000 or 1.3. That's still pricey for 1.3 million in the US. You could buy a huge mansion with walls around it in some parts. Like huge mansion with water fountains and maybe a water slide that goes outside the house a bit and then it goes back into the house. Like, is there like you get a water slide built in, like going outside a bit, you know? You could get that for that much money. Hula hoop in my house. All right, comments are flowing. Okay, what's going on here, guys? This is from 2 days ago. Kuku Kuchar never had problems forecasting sales for his company. New housing projects in the Ottawa region. Growth has was so predictably steady. He says that it was easy to roll out new developments and know almost exactly how sales would go. But that has changed since 2017 when the home market in the region started to take off. The founder of DCR Phoenix Group says he has two partners launch the first phase of their new Pathways and Finley Creek complexes in September 2018 and were stunned to sell out all the townhouse units on the first day. See, other cities are picking up. People are leaving the high, expensive cities, right? So they're driving a couple of hours away from Toronto to Ottawa. He has now 6 housing projects under construction, several more coming, trying to move quickly to take advantage of the growth, heat, and Ottawa region's housing market. Yeah, it's being dramatic and they're scrambling to catch up. Ottawa posted forecast home price increases for major city in Canada in March. Based MLS Home Price Index benchmark prices hit $405,000, up 7.6% from March of last year, while prices nationally fell by 0.5%. Ottawa is outpacing even the fast-growing Montreal market, where the benchmark home prices rose 6.3% in March. Mind you, Ottawa's still in Ontario, right? So this is really good. So there's a drop in volume, of course, because there is too many people buying and there's not enough supply to meet the demand. A tale of two costly housing markets, Toronto and Vancouver. Vancouver housing, second least affordable in the world. Vancouver housing is the second... Okay, wait. They said that already. After Hong Kong, 2019 demographic, international housing affordability says... This year, Vancouver bumped Sydney to move to the second spot. After these 3 years at number 3. So Sydney's in third now. Despite some correction in the housing market, mainly with higher-end homes, Vancouver's affordability continues to deteriorate, the report states. After Vancouver, the cities with the least affordable housing are Sydney, Melbourne, San Jose, and Los Angeles. City of Angels. Los Angeles means the angels. The angels. Canadian cities with the most unaffordable housing after Vancouver are Toronto, Montreal, and Calgary. Least affordable. With the most unaffordable housing after Vancouver are Toronto, Montreal, and Calgary. The survey rates middle income housing affordability using a measure called median multiple. So they're going to make up names for all this crap. That captures the median house price divided by the median household income in a given market. The median multiple of 5.1, which means a home cost is more than 5 times the average annual household income, is considered severely unaffordable. In parts of the states, 3.5 and 4. Once you get over 3.5 times your annual income, you're out of affordability levels. Marc-Andre Moses saying, a small house in Vancouver is like $1 million. No, let's go back here. Where did that house go? This house listed in Vancouver, $16 million. Looks like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's all garage too. Most of the house is all garage. I'm not picking on the house. It's just, really? So, yeah. Let's move on. Seattle seeing more homes for sale, less money in 2019. So we're having an oversupply right now in Washington State and Seattle. What happened was in Washington State in 2016, tail end of the year to 2017, a lot of foreign investors went down across the border from Vancouver, BC when they implemented the foreign buyers tax and jumped on the Seattle market and King County market in King County and just ripped the pricing apart there. Just destroyed the pricing for the medium affordability. Then affordability levels went from like 3.5 times the annual income to like 8 or 9, 10 times the annual income in Seattle. Gary Madero's in the house. Hello, everybody. Bottle caps. We're going to spend millions on an inquiry for stuff that we already know. And then Andre DX says, wow, those prices are way too ridiculous. Freaking crazy. Sativa is saying, smash the likes, guys. Love this show. Yeah, guys, thanks for coming out and joining me tonight. Seems like an Asian frenzy to get assets. And yeah. Gary Madero's in the house. So a lot of Chinese were parking money in the Western countries. And especially after their prime minister or president or emperor declared himself emperor of China, a lot of wealthy and even middle-class Chinese try to get their wealth offshore to not lose their wealth to their ridiculous communist country. And I don't blame a lot of them people that worked hard to build and provide for their families and take care of their people. I don't mind that. It's scary when one country gets severely oppressed with laws and the social credit score in China. And if I was doing well in China and I had assets and I was doing well financially, I would look to other countries to potentially move to. I would look to other places to possibly relocate my family out of China. Yeah. Like let's say, like we're heading towards that right now in Canada, the United States, and countries like that. We're heading towards this bizarro kind of non-democratic way we're living and passing laws that don't make sense and delusionalness. Join me on Mike in the Night Saturday nights for this kind of topic, guys. But yeah. So people are saying, Steve, yeah, we got Steve. Thank God we got Steve in the comments. I spoke to him today. Hopefully we can get him on the show if he gets some time. I would love to talk to him. I talked to him today, but I would like to talk to him live. This is only Chinese money, but Indian money too. I don't know. See, in India, it's a little bit different. When people come to Canada, they usually stick together, families stick together. They work hard. They pay down their mortgages. They work as a team type of thing. Where it's a little bit different, where in China is they like some people would buy 20 homes, 15 houses at a time, and not even look at them. It's very different. Two different ways, So Layla says, yeah, stop the liberals. They've been in office over a decade. Yeah, it's starting to hurt, guys. Things are starting to hurt. Things are getting tight, and we saw what happened here. So let's go back over some of the articles we read. Bay Area techies plan to ditch San Francisco for these 5 cities. So a lot of people are leaving San Francisco and moving out because the cost of living is too high. There's your $16 million house. Ottawa on fire. I want to see, honestly, if you could buy anything in the States for that much. Hold on. Let's find this out, guys. So this is $16 million for this house. Let's see what you could buy for $16 million. Like this house, like there's comparative houses to that. And 270. Just lots of affordable houses in other places. 1 acre lot. 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, 149. Let me see here if I could go with that much money, if they let me. It doesn't even let me go to that much. Minimum that. And then it doesn't even let me go. It doesn't even let me go, guys, to $16 million. So $3 million bucks. It doesn't even let me go that high. Okay, $1 million bucks. 5 bed, 6 bath. See, that's $1 million house. See, that's in Florida. That's $1 million house, guys. That's $1 million. There's no way this is $16 million. I'm sorry. I don't know if I'm severely delusional or losing my mind, or I'm not just getting with the times. That is not $16 million. That's $1 million house. $1 million bucks. 1,100,000. 5 bedroom, 6 bath, 6,000 square feet. In Coral Springs, that's a good area too. Yeah. And if you put zero down, you pay $5,748 a month. If you put zero down. And this house, on $16 million, it's going to be like $18,000 a month. In a mortgage, 18 grand for that house in Vancouver. And then this one, $1 million bucks. Coral Springs. That's $1 million house. Here, you want to see this picture? That's $1 million right there. Look at that. 3-car garage. On a little mini lake there. Golf course. That's $1 million. Oh, I have someone's asking, where the hell is that $16 million house? That's in Vancouver. 16 million bucks. This is $1 million bucks right here. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, look at the back. Oh my God, it's got that traditional rustic southern look with the back balcony. Oh, that house is so beautiful. Oh wow, look at that pool. It's by a little lake. Look at that entrance. That's $1 million. Someone asked, Vancouver, doesn't it rain? Yeah, it's raining every day there. It's horrible. Look at that. That's $1 million house, my friends. $1 million bucks right there. There's 59 photos of this. We're not going to go through them all. But that's what I wanted to show you guys. Unless, like I said, I'm severely delusional or something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, everyone's saying beautiful. Yeah. Isn't Florida the... Yeah, it's always sunny in Florida. I lived there for 5 years. 16 million... Like... I don't know, guys. I don't know. Maybe I need to go on medication or something because I don't know. I can't find anything for that much, guys. 16 million bucks. Like the most expensive house is $2.5 million. Like I can't. I found this one for 1.195. Oh, this thing's humongous. Holy crap, look at the inside of this thing. Yeah, that's a house, guys. That's a house and a half. Look at the bed. Wow. I bet Vanilla Ice owns a house like this too. But yeah, like you see what I'm saying, guys? I don't get it, man. That's $1 million house right there. I can't find anything here. Let's go. Maybe if we go to like for that much money, I don't even know where to go for that much money. It's all these castles, like castle type homes. Not finding anything here for that much. Oh, this is a little cute house. Look at this one. Okay, so back to, we're comparing here this house that was listed for $16 million in Vancouver. Look at that. $1 million bucks. 1 million. 6 bedroom, 5 bath. Almost 7,000 square feet interior space. Look at that. That's $1 million house. Look at the back of that house. Pfft. That's $1 million bucks. Then if this is 17, hold on guys, hear me out. If this is $16 million in Vancouver, then what would this house be in Vancouver if this house was in Vancouver? Like $1 billion? Anyways, this is $1 million house right here. 1 million bucks right across the board. 1 million. That's $1 million house. So let's move on, guys. I wanted to kind of throw that out there. Yeah, TJH. But Mike, that's an 18 bedroom. If a mattress fits, that's a bedroom. Yeah. So in Vancouver, what happens is like these kind of houses, what they do is if you can get a single mattress to fit in any room, that becomes a bedroom no matter what. But there's a toilet and a bathtub here. Yeah, but that's a bedroom because we could fit a mattress in it. And that's how it works there. This house, Jim, man, you could fit 1,000 mattresses in here. You got a 1,000-bedroom house. Look. You could fit so many mattresses in these rooms. You could have like literally. Look at this cabana area. Friends come over. Hey man, look at my $1 million house. I sold my house for $16 million in Vancouver. I sold this for $16 million in Vancouver. And I bought this for $1 million. Now I'm living off the interest off the rest. Holy crapola. Look at the ceiling on this house. Holy smokes. Someone says to find a $100 million, or is that $1 million house in Vancouver? Is that $1 million? I can't count. Spell it out. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, it's $10 million. Someone's saying the reason why this is that much is because the land's probably worth $15.5 million. Yeah. Look at that ceiling. You probably have rooms in this house that you'll never even know you have. Like there's Egyptian stuff here. Like, you wouldn't even know you have these rooms in these houses. Oh my God, it's like a bed to watch TV with a theater room and the theater seats in the back and you can sleep on the bed. Oh, look at that view. We should call one of these agents live on the show. Yeah, there's a report here. My Northwest. Recent report from Redfin reveals that while significantly more homes are available for sale in Seattle, the city is still seeing a decrease in prices over the last year. Price drops and oversupply in the Seattle market. Briggs said it right. Inflated egos equals inflated prices. Marc-Andre Moses says, North Vancouver people are rich and have beautiful view of the city of Vancouver. Yeah, that's a good question. Someone's asking, how many people do you need to clean this house? Well, I mean, if you don't have a job, right? And let's say, for example, hear me out. You sell this for $16 million. Okay. In Vancouver. Okay. So you pay $1.3 million for this in Florida because it's $1 million US. So you won't pay $1.3 million, okay, for this house. Okay. So it's free and clear. So all you have to pay is property tax and your utilities. I would actually find a piece of land on the property that's big and just solar panel the crap with panels, low-rise panels, and power the house. And then, not only that, watch what I do. I'd go to, for example, something like IPL. Okay, and I would invest a bit of it in IPL. IPL right now is paying 7% on their dividend, or 8%. Today's change. Where's their dividend? Why is their dividend? I would put 8% dividend yield. So they're paying 8%. So I would put, let's say, $1 million in IPL. IPL would be paying me $80,000 a year on $1 million. I put $10 million in IPL. They pay me $800,000 a year. So you see where I'm going? If you're smart, you sell this house in Vancouver for $16 million. You buy this in Florida for $1 million, so $1.3 million. You put $1 million in some of these companies, that big oil companies and stuff, that are paying you 8%. Look, 4 dividend stocks to hold in your TSFA forever that pay more than 5%. That's all you got to do. And then you can keep maybe $1 million or $2 million in cash. What do you guys think of that? Then you don't have to work and you can spend your entire day cleaning the house. So, all right, let's go back to the comments. I'm going somewhat off topic here. Remember, I do not offer financial advice. Do not listen to anything I tell you because I can't read. FPL here in Florida is not cheap. Florida Power and Light. That's why you just, like, when you got a house this big, you just throw a pile of solar panels on it. I wouldn't ruin the roof. I would actually find a piece of land on the property because this property is very big. I would actually go to the backyard and just put some low-rise panels. And it's sunny 360 days of the year in Florida. And I would just have the power. I'd move all the appliances to electric. Electric fridge, electric stove, no gas, just everything electric. And I just run off solar. That's it. All right, let's go here. Steve the Plumber, a lot of people in the live chat, nice to see. Oh, yeah. Fifth Buddha saying those Florida houses are probably $950,000 house and $50,000 land. Probably, yeah. Mark Andre Moses says, do you think a house in Kelowna, BC is affordable for a family? Not yet. Kelowna is still going down. Kelowna, British Columbia needs to go down another 28%. Richa the Silva is saying tomorrow RBC and TD numbers come out, right? Yes, they are. I covered it today in one of my videos. Laugh out loud. Richa, TD and RBC should report negative earnings, or they are absolutely full of. Yep. And Mark Andre most depends on entirely on location. Guys, let's get Steve. Steve, can you call in, buddy? Are you available to call us in on Skype? A lot of people miss you, and they'd be like, "Where's Steve? I love Steve. You know, Steve's such a nice guy." And, party it up with Steve, $1 million right across. Yeah, Steve, call in. Hurry up. Yeah, I'm going to sell this house for $16 million in Vancouver, and I'm going to buy that for $1 million in Florida. I mean, oh, and you park your boat. You even have a docking area for your boat on your private property. That's your private property there. Man, oh man. Look at those mahogany, like, hand-carved doors. Look at the painted ceilings. I love these vaulted painted ceilings. Richa saying I'll call in. Yeah, man, add me on Skype, buddy. Call in and tell us what you get. Mike, what can I get for $250,000 in downtown Vancouver? Let's find out. Let's go to, I think it's MLS. We use in Canada. I think it's MLS. Or it's realtor.ca. I think it changed. I don't know. Oh, we got Steve calling. Stevie Wonder, what's up, buddy?
How are you, Mike?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm just looking up Vancouver here. Someone's asking if we could buy in Vancouver 150 large.
Not right yet.
I don't think you could buy anything. Let's find out. I could tell you right now. Minimum price, let's say $250, and max price $350. Nothing comes up. Not a single thing comes up, Steve. Not a single listing. Oh, we got
Wow.
two of them here. Sorry. I'm sorry. I just noticed that. Oh, 0 bedrooms. Bachelor suite, no bedrooms, one bath, 260 and 299 in Burnaby for 1 bedroom, 1 bath. It looks like those, apartments, like apartment buildings, not condos.
Yep.
It looks like that kind of stuff. So, Steve, what did you think of that house for $1 million right across the board? Did you see that house?
I caught the tail end of it, and it's actually quite humorous when you think about it. I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm at a loss, Mike. There's so many moving parts that are happening right now. This week is a big week for the economy and the economic outlook. I mean, the only thing we buy in terms of as Canadians in the stock market, the only thing we actually own is Canadian banks. And right now, I mean, owning Canadian banks, it's one of those things where if you're buying on dips, you know what? Hey, all the power to you. It's a brave move. Eventually, it will come full circle, and you'll make money. But I mean, if you are, planning on, buying, holding for a little bit, and then selling, you're going to get burned large.
Mm-hmm. So, like, how do we even do comparisons? Like, you're looking at $1 million house across the board, and then we're looking at the other one for 16 million. They're completely uncomparable. Steve, you there?
Mike.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Yeah, I am. There's only one way. There's only one way to kind of sort of answer that question, and I mean, quite frankly, you got to be a drunken fool to do that.
Yeah. It's just, it just does, the only thing that makes sense to me, Steve, is like this. I sell that house to $16 million for you, to you. You buy that house for me for $16 million. Heck, I give you the $16 million to buy my house. Then I just laundered $16 million in a Canadian bank.
Oh, for sure. That is the only logical way of looking at it in terms of laundering money. But that's actually happening in the Greater Toronto area, especially in York region, where they're going ahead and they're buying property. And there's one case where a property was bought by from an average Joe for approximately $1.2 million in the York region area. Let's call it Aurora Newmarket. And then next thing it's bought on the by real estate agents, and they wait 12 months, and next thing you know, they've gone ahead and they've sold that property for $2.4 million.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, yeah, 2.3 something million dollars.
And what is it realistically worth? Like 150 grand, like 300 grand?
750, 800,000 at best in today's market.
Wow.
Yeah, but then again, those realtors, they knew exactly what was going on, and the worst part about it is they put a tenant in there, and that tenant stayed there for basically, I think it was 6 months, 5 months, until their new house was basically ready to go. Mm-hmm. And now that file's being investigated by the RCMP as well as the Canada Revenue Agency for money laundering.
But why are they such slow movers on this? Why didn't they stop this before it happened? Because now, see, Canada has a bigger problem than the U.S. will ever have, and that's and the position we're in with $200 billion in. Roughly $200 billion is what they're estimating at right now. And you know how they lowball these things, right, Steve? What if...
Yep.
See, America, this is worse than going to war. This is pretty bad, Steve, because we are now economically destabilized. And basically what I'm trying to say is that if it wasn't for criminals laundering money, we'd be in a recession today.
Yep. And oddly enough, if we clamped down on it, faster, sooner, earlier, whichever way you want to call it, we wouldn't have been in a way better position because we would have already been at least halfway through the recession. Housing prices would have never gotten to the point where they are. The Canadian proper wouldn't have leveraged themselves, to to the point of no return, trying to be lifestylers and keeping up with the Joneses and everything else, everybody would have buckled down and saw what was going on and didn't, play into organized real estate of fear of missing out, FOMO. There's so many different, things that would have been different today. And one thing's for sure, Toronto, including Vancouver, would have never, ever, ever got to where house peaked in 2017. We would have probably still been somewhere between 2012 and 2015 price.
Yeah.
Something in and around there, because that's what people can afford, Mike.
Well,
end of story.
Well, Steve, you actually made a little bit of a critical error in that. 2017 never happened. It was an anomaly. 2017 never existed.
Yeah, if you do ask, Trev or organized real estate, they will call it that. Yes.
Yeah, it's never existed, and we don't know what 2017 is. It's not on our calendars. It never existed. So this is when Toronto took a huge nosedive, right?
Well, absolutely, and it can exist for the purposes of organized real estate and their seasonally adjusted numbers, and all these other different ways that they spin things around so that they're positive. Because if they factor in 2017, everything's down like a tracks.
Okay, somebody sent me a video on YouTube, and this is what you could buy for $16.5 million in comparison to that house in Vancouver. There's a guy standing in front of it. I don't know who owns this house, but it's a mega mansion. I just want to see the outside. Maybe get the. I don't want to copy his video, so I don't get. So we're gonna compare that Vancouver house we saw. Here it is. See if we could catch it like properly zoomed or. But that's it right there. That's what $16.5 million gets you, a mega mansion. And I'm not sure why anyone would pay $16.5 million for that house we saw in Vancouver. I don't know, Steve. I don't even know what this. Look at it here. Look at this. Steve, can you see this or no?
Yeah.
There it is right there. There's probably rooms in there you'll never see in your life.
Yeah, that's quite possible.
Yeah, I don't know. I just can't fathom what's going on. And especially Australia. Australia got hit the hardest, man. And now Australia, woof, they're up Poops Creek right now with a lot of people underwater right now. And in Toronto, so how are foreclosures? Are you seeing a lot of people losing things, or what's going on? What do you feel on what kind of vibe are you feeling?
I think this is just the beginning. This is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of people losing their homes and stuff like that, or being forced to sell. A lot of times people will leave their house, and because they know that they just can't keep up with it, and they've already secured other living arrangements. So, I mean, whether they're still trying to sell it or whatnot, they don't want to be in the house. And we're seeing a trend right now where the bank's given them an ultimatum and they have to be out by a certain date, or have sold the property or allowed the property to hit the market and, show some sort of, effort to mitigate losses and, sell the property. But neither here nor there. It's one of those things where I feel bad for a lot of these people because they got in way over their head. Now they can't afford to pay the piper, and it's just going to be an upward trend. If anybody thinks this is, just going to be, the new norm where, people, seldomly lose their houses, or it's just a little bit of a spike, absolutely not. As real estate prices continue to decline year over year, month over month, with respect to housing as an asset class correcting, we're going to see people be in dire straits. We're going to see people continue to lose their houses. Automobile repossessions are through the roof as well.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people complaining in the comments that I keep going offline. Not sure why. I don't know if YouTube's doing updates or something, or what they're up to. But it says here my kilobytes are moving at 160 frames per second. So I'm not too sure what's going on here. Yeah, keep going offline. So, Steve, I got a bombshell of a question for you.
Go ahead, let her rip.
Banks don't have the liquidity in reserves to hedge against major defaults. What's going to happen? Banks have no liquidity. They in Australia right now. ANZ and a couple of other banks need to have X amount of millions or billions in reserve now by the end of this year or the end of next year, because they have nothing to hedge against a crash, and because no one's depositing money because no one has money to deposit, and everyone's eating off whatever they make. What do you see happening with that?
Well, that's interesting. I don't follow that banking sector as well as Mike, but I mean, as a bank in general, yes, they have to have a certain amount of reserves. Otherwise, governing bodies will step in. I'm not sure what their deposit insurance equates to, whether it's 100,000, 150,000. But I mean, if you're looking at the global recession and the global economic downturn, what's happening at the moment, right before our eyes, it's definitely not a good thing. And I think a lot of banks, they're going to end up either having to be bailed out, or they will be bought up by some of the larger investors or other banks outside of that country for pennies on the dollar.
Okay. Okay. So there'll be bail-ins. I see the taxpayers bailing out these big banks that basically screwed them over in the first place by giving them mortgage they knew they couldn't pay back.
Well, it's happened all over the place. This time in Canada, I personally believe that it will be worse per capita than the United States in terms of people, not so much losing their homes, but in terms of the amount of equity.
Mm-hmm.
The IMF went on to say the other day that banking sector is strong, banks are fine, they're resilient. The stress test helped them out. It's here to stay. A number of different things. Do I see an '08 style crash like the U.S.? No, I don't. However, I see a lot of people that have a lot of money tied up in real estate that are on the basis, operate on the basis that they're wealthy because they have these hard assets that were once upon a time overvalued and overinflated. And as those valuations come back down to reality, and then furthermore come back down to the recessed reality, if you will, a lot of people are going to find themselves without retirement savings, without a retirement plan.
That keeps me up at night, seeing a lot of these boomers and seniors heading into retirement with a mortgage still.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. Anybody that owns real estate, who has bought real estate from approximately 2014 to the tail end of 2017 is in deep, deep, deep trouble. I don't care if they put 20% down or they put 95% down. In actual fact, if you put 95% down, you're probably in more trouble than the guy that put 20% down. The guy that put 20% down is basically going to walk away from his house. If you put 90 or 95% down, well, guess what? You're not walking away from your house because there's still equity in it.
Right. Right. But I really feel for a lot of these people that are getting into these. A lot of people trusted that they would be pensioned, that they'd be taken care of. They've paid their due diligence. They've paid their CPP, their Canada pension. They paid their 401ks or RSPs or whatever you want to call them. And people really worked their lives off and to support the system and to create the infrastructure we're in today. And now they're just, being mistreated. And I've been hearing horror stories about people having parents in old folks' homes and they're getting beaten and things happening. Steve, I don't know, man. This is an all around fallout. Everything. People are telling me to be more positive, but it's just an all around fallout, buddy.
Well, you can try to remain positive, or you can basically look at things in retrospect and understand that you can be as positive as you want, but you have to live for the moment and you have to understand what's truly going on. and nothing about what's going on is positive. I mean, for God's sakes, you can look at CIBC and their U.S. book of business, as well as their investment standpoint. They're self-directed, or whatever you want to call it, in terms of their investment portfolio, their investment side of things. A very good friend, crypto market, said it perfectly today on the telephone when I had a call with him. He says they still, even all those record numbers, them making money on that aspect of things, all that wealth and those earnings on the positive couldn't basically allow the bank to meet earnings expectations, because their loan loss provisions and mortgage book of business in Canada, in their own backyard, is in the tank. That should tell you something on how bad Canadian real estate, with respect to, loan loss provisions and mortgage originations. I mean, if anybody wants to say otherwise, you know what, please, challenge me on it, because you're going to lose miserably. You have to be, you literally have to be a fool to think that everything's rainbows and unicorns.
Hold on. Jem Rose has a good comment here. Says, why would anyone buy a house or land in or a brick and mortar business in Ontario now unless you are involved in laundering money?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that to a certain degree. Ontario is not open for business. They're trying to change certain things, get things moving again. However, Mr. Ford, the Premier of Ontario, is really cutting back on a lot of essential services. I mean, I like the guy. I just don't agree with all his policies. That's where I'll leave the political comments for tonight. However, yeah, you literally have to be an idiot to buy real estate in the Greater Toronto area, or Ontario, for that fact, at the current moment, unless it's significantly outside of Ontario. Like, we're talking Northern Ontario or somewhere like that, where real estate prices haven't experienced an irrational exuberance and are still actually, affordable and can be justified.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually, when you come around thinking about it. Yeah. Anything else you wanna tell us? Anything? I know the banks are going to be giving out TD and CIBC and a couple other banks, not CIBC, TD, and I think RBC are going to be announcing their earnings and you said they should be zero.
Well, no, I shouldn't. I'm not saying that they're going to be zero. In actual fact, they had to have made some sort of money.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
But yes, TD and RBC are set to announce their earnings. And again, if they show that they've actually hit targets and haven't missed earnings, in terms of adding up their entire book of business, both Canada and the U.S., if they're saying they're hitting targets, they're lying. They're absolutely lying, especially TD, because I have information, and that information leads me to believe that TD will be at least one of the big five banks that will require a bailout with respect to their Canadian book of business.
So, time to reflect, saying Mike can go on and on, but when it really comes down to his affordability, it is supply and demand. It's not really a supply and demand. It's a supply. There's an oversupply on the market, so there is the supply there. It's the affordability, right? So, yeah. So people in the comments here commenting, it's just a bizarro thing to wrap your mind around what's been happening. And all these years I've been talking about this housing this, housing that for so many years now, Steve. How long you been coming on the show now? Way over a year now.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
Way more than a year, maybe 2 years you've been coming on the show now. And I've been talking about this like a broken record because nothing adds up. People keep saying, yeah, Mike, a clock is correct 2 times a day. twice a day, a clock is always going to be correct. Yeah, Mike, you keep predicting a crash. It's going to happen. No, it's all this bizarro magic tricks by the government, on these smoke and mirrors by the banks, and stealing our wealth by lowering interest rates, and all this Mickey Mousing that's been going on. It's been really hard to wrap around any or forecast anything that's going to happen. But what I do know, Steve, it's happening in every single English-speaking country. It's the same patterns: foreign investing, money laundering, money in the back door, and it's rigged. Everything, every aspect is fixed.
Yeah, absolutely.
From when you take your application, from when you get it approved, from when they pull your credit score, from when they do the appraisal, from when they do the inspection, it's all rigged.
Yeah, it is rigged. It's been rigged for a number of years, and now everything's coming out in the wash. So the fact that the stress test was brought in, and the stress test was always there, believe it or not, Mike. I don't want to get into it, but it was always there in one way, shape, or form. Jim Flaherty days, so on and so forth. There are a number of different factors, but I'm not going to get into it because that's just going to take about an hour to explain the whole thing, and your listeners don't want to hear that. What your listeners, I think, want to understand is where things are going, and in my opinion, they have to continue to decline. That stress test is here to stay. It's not moving anywhere. And when I say that, the IMF has stepped in, CMHC has stepped in, Stephen Poll has stepped in, and they've all basically said, no, it's here to stay. So organized real estate needs to suck it up and accept the fact, along with every other person in Toronto and Vancouver, because, everywhere else is really not being affected by the stress test as much as we'd like to think they are. They aren't, because real estate is not, so disproportionate to wages in other parts of Canada.
Right.
But at the end of the day, we have a situation where the stress test is staying in. It's not going anywhere. And the reason why it's not going anywhere is because the Canadian government, along with CMHC and everybody else, they realize that if we do not, and I repeat, do not allow house prices to fall back, and we do not allow things to recede, now we will have an '08 style crash. Everybody will lose everything. They have an opportunity right now to, take a little bit of a blow instead of, emptying the entire clip in the gun.
Yeah, definitely, because the 2008 crash in the United States didn't fully go full blown because everything was bailed out. If they went full blown, you would have seen a lot of banks default too. But the government came in and rescued and did quantitative easing and layered in a pile of money and to prevent it from a full blown crash. In 2008, there should have been more of a crash. The banks should have gone with it. JP Morgan, all those places should have gone under 100%. But then the government came in with taxpayers' money to clean up the mess.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's funny. Everybody in the comment section or a select few are all commenting on immigration. And immigration right now is a double-edged sword. You have the illegals coming in and skipping the line, and our lucky sperm drama teacher for prime minister is eating it up. And, he's doing what he's doing, and he's actually destroying things. And I'm not trying to get political here, Mike. I promise you that. Mm-hmm. But then you have the other aspect of things where, immigration is great. People are bringing money in. They're buying real estate. They're doing this. They're setting up routes, all this other stuff. No, they're not. What they're actually doing is they're distorting our economy. Go ahead.
Canada has 200 billion problems. $200 billion is, to be correct, of laundered money, and that's what they're estimating it as. And they always underestimate things when it's pretty bad, right, Steve?
They normally cut it in half. Absolutely.
A lot of people were trashing me in the comments about 4 months ago when I said that China laundered about 2 to 5 billion. Remember that, Steve? And everyone was destroying me. No, the government wouldn't let that. Now they're looking at 200 billion.
you know what? Everything comes out in the wash, Mike. And right now, it's you know, they've tried to clean up an awful lot of money, and they're all slowly but surely going to get caught. But at the end of everything, we also have to understand, what recourse do we have? How are we going to go after these people? What's going to happen? Seizure laws in Canada are very specific, and they do differ from province to province. But there will be certain laws. From what I think, there will be certain laws put in provincially and federally on the basis of money laundering. If they can check all the boxes, and there'll be a nominal amount of boxes, call it 3 to 5 boxes, then they won't even have to go before a judge in order to go ahead and seize something. They'll seize it, and then we'll see it in court at some point in time. As long as they have, done their due diligence, they're going to seize that asset. And for all intents and purposes, they're actually starting to do it now.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing on the ground. A couple of people are kind of hush-hush with it and don't want to make a mockery or a spectacle of it, but it has to be shown, and that, people just can't come to any country in the world and pull that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely. We don't need foreign money coming in and speculating on our real estate. We need foreign money to come in and buy real estate and set up roots here.
Yeah, and not only that, invest in their companies. Our private sector jobs are dwindling right now. We're losing jobs in the automotive industry. We're losing jobs in all areas of private sector. And once we start losing private sector jobs, who the heck is going to fund the public sector?
Yeah, it's going to be really bad. Really, really bad. We didn't do this properly. And I think what happened is after 2008, the floodgates were just opened up to the point of no return. And we started seeing so much money flood into Canada. And that's one of the reasons why after 2010, when things really started to increase, between 2010 and 2012 is the magic period of time where money really, really, really started to flow into Canada. Mm-hmm. And the Canadian government said, "Oh, this is great. This is fantastic. We're not the U.S. This is our answer. This is this is that." And you know what? Quite frankly, we're paying for it right now. And we're paying for it in such a way where things are so distorted, and all this influx of money has come in. They're literally completely screwed up the economy. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, hitting the reset button is exactly what was needed to be done. But right now, hitting that reset button too quick, too fast will actually send everything into an 2008 style crash.
Oh yeah. I just can't believe people paying $2, $3, $4, $5 million for detached bungalow. That's what killed us, is people bending the market and warping it. And guys, up on the screen here, this is what $1 million house looks like. 6 bedroom, 5 baths, 7,000 square feet. This right here, my friends, is $1 million house. This is $1 million. Okay? Do you agree with me, Steve? Is this $1 million house to you?
Nice house.
That's $1 million. That's what I've always imagined a $1 million house to look like. Not a detached bungalow built in 1910 with a cracked foundation, and they're asking $4 million for it. This is $1 million house.
Yeah, well, I mean, at this point, these cracked foundations and these tear downs that went for, millions and millions of dollars, it was all speculation. No Chinese or foreign investor is going to buy that, buy a piece of junk and, live in it. It's just not going to happen. They have high standards, and
so
we let it happen.
Exactly, let it happen. We got something here from Australia just sent to me. Reserve Bank interest rate cuts just a beginning in moves to boost home loans. So again, I covered this the other day in Australian housing wrap up. Australia it's right here in this video here, guys. So if you guys want to peruse my channel, please do so. It's right here. Australia weekly housing wrap up. What a mess. It's right here. and ANZ Bank and hot water. Yeah. Did you see that one about Ireland I did today, Steve?
No, I didn't. I didn't get a chance.
Yeah, on Ireland, massive housing crisis. I have somebody from Ireland who said he's going to come on the show next week from Dublin. So hopefully he'll come on for me. This is pretty bad. What's happening in Ireland? I can't. Steve, it's really bad. Houses in the last couple of years went up 50 to 80%. Like almost double their value, pretty much in the span of 3 years, and rents went up from 400 euros a month to over 1,500 euros a month.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. Let me know if you got this, because I just sent it over to you on Skype.
Yeah, I see that.
I want you to pull this up here.
I want to see if I could open it here. I don't know if it's going to... Oh, yeah, it's going to let me open it. Here it is. Here it is. I got it right here. Key mortgages and consumer credit indicators for Q4 of 2018. Is that right?
Yep, that's right. So take a look at that and tell me what you think, Mike.
All right, hold on. I got to move your little thing away from the screen here. Key mortgage and consumer credit indicators for Q4 2018. Mortgage, number of new loans down 200 to 223, down 4.8%. New loans, average balance 264, down 3.8%. And all loans up 3.1%. Delinquency rate 0.3%, up 0.01 percentage point. New loans 1,432, and all loans 1,289. Overall volume of mortgage activity grew at a slower pace, partially reflecting lower housing market activity. Now we jump into HELOCs. Woo! Average balance, all loans, 98.8%, up 1.6. So people have utilization rate almost 60%. Wow. So people are tapped right out on those HELOCs, eh?
Absolutely.
And then other debt, average balance in thousands, 9,054, up 3.6%. Delinquency rate down 0.73%. And this is consumer with a mortgage, other debts. Wow, that's pretty harsh, Steve.
Yeah. So in terms of the delinquency rates and stuff like that, those, and how you have to look at that, those delinquency rates are basically done on a quarterly basis, but they aren't. They're only reviewed twice a year, from what I've been told.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's a mix mash. However, that said, it's a good graph that will basically give you the overall understanding of what's going on. And to everyone out there, all these numbers here, this is at a glance for 20,000 feet. Nothing about this can be, this is a picture that's being painted to be very rosy, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So that, people aren't freaking out, so on and so forth. And this usually happens right before the hurricane hit. The calm before the storm, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Right now, we're in the eye of the storm, so everything looks calm right now in the eye. Once that eye starts to drift and we go back into the storm, oh man, Steve, it's going to hit hard. It's going to hit hard, buddy.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look where Vancouver is right now, right? Everyone said Vancouver, it's going to be stable, everything's going to be fine. I mean, you can, just go check out Steve Sereski's channel. He's organized really how it is, and he doesn't sugarcoat a goddamn thing.
Yeah, I saw actually the Better Dwelling article I covered about that too. So I covered a Better Dwelling article a few days ago about right here. I think it's right here. Where is it? Vancouver properties lost 90 billion in Nova Scotia. 90 billion, and Nova Scotia's on fire right now. Everyone's moving to Sydney, Nova Scotia right now from the GTA area.
Really?
Yeah. Watch that video. It's from 21 hours ago. Yeah, Vancouver properties lost 90 billion. I posted it 21 hours ago.
Okay, I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much where we're at, Mike. Right now we're gonna see how everything unfolds. The government's really, really trying to get a hold of this ill-gotten money laundering money as fast as they possibly can. And to tell you the truth, I don't even think that they care about catching these people. They just want their assets, and they want the tax money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Well, they're losing so much. They're on the governments. They're gonna have to flip these deficits for these cities. I don't know how they're gonna pay their garbage men and their firefighters and hospital staff. I don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I mean, right now the amount of money that's leaving Canada, you know, I'm sure that's going to escalate as these bank earnings come in. But the amount of money, it just with respect to the GTA alone, there is a person that I know very, very well. He's with it, you know, in banking, and he's gone ahead and he's basically told me that is estimated in the GTA alone, in terms of money leaving Canada, just out of the GTA, Toronto and Greater Toronto area, surrounding area, is approximately $1 million per day that is leaving Canadian banks.
Yep. And also there's a lot of Europeans moving back to Europe from Eastern Canada. Europeans that immigrated in Eastern Canada in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s are all moving back to Europe from what I heard.
Absolutely. And you're also seeing a mass exit. People that are from Iran. Everyone's going back to Iran because the dollar's just no longer convenient anymore. These Iranian builders and stuff like that were building these custom homes, they're no longer doing it. It's not worth it. And their money supply is gone. Not because of capital outflow laws or controls. It's just merely no longer feasible, and it doesn't make sense with respect to when you're converting the money over. It's gone. So a lot of that money is going back to Iran. But I mean, Iran is a different beast on its own. I don't want to go to a dark place, but I do see some sort of beginning signs of more than just a disagreement, and it may lead us into a war with Iran.
Wow. Well, we don't want to we don't want to go there right now. We don't want to go to any war right now. I don't want to go to war.
No, yeah. I don't want to go to a war whatsoever.
So Layla in the comment section saying, funny, I'm working on moving back. It's almost over, folks. So Layla, I think she's moving back to Europe. And yeah, it looks like that's what it looks like the deal is here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh well. Anyways, Mike, I'll let you go. I'll let somebody else call in. So good to be with you, and we'll talk real soon. You take care, sir.
All right. Thank you for watching, Steve. Thanks for coming on, and thanks for your support.
Not a problem. Cheers, buddy. Take care.
Good night. All right, that was my man Stevie. All right, guys. My son is crushing himself into the door to try to open the door, so I'm gonna go see what's going on. I'm gonna sign off. And I got stuff gonna fall off the. Anyways, look, my daughter painted this for me today, with sparkles on it. She made that for me today in her little preschool there. And yeah, go ahead and check out my channel, guys. And if you want to support the transmission, please go ahead and share one of my videos. Just get me out there. And, I'm just your day-to-day average guy. And yeah, don't forget to join me Saturday night for Mike in the Night. We're going to have a huge show on Mike in the Night. So I'm going to prepare it for you guys, and we're going to get some call-ins, and we're going to start figuring out what's going on around the world and what's happening and how we could fix this as a team. So don't forget to share one of my videos. I really appreciate that and everyone joining in. And yeah, go ahead and scroll back. If you're just tuning into the video, just scroll it back to the beginning, and it should be up with commercials in about another hour to 2 hours. So this is Trends in the Housing Market. Thanks for watching. And if you want to come on the show, go ahead and add me on Skype, Mike Martins 1980, and we will have you on and give us your housing discussion in your area and what's been happening. Thank you so much. Good night, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Subscribe and share something.